This week's episode was brought to you by Marjan and Sean Horsnall. Thank you, Marjan and Sean Horsnall. It's with the generous support of listeners just like you that our band of beatific bunnies marches onward with a fresh supply of carrots, lasers, and grappling hooks that double as extendable straws when it's time to drink the enemy's milkshake. A precious slurry of milk, a gelatinous cream with psychic properties, and tiny robots that we reprogram with our unique blend of gut flora to transmit the signal you're receiving at this very moment. If you'd like to help us keep our bellies full of nanomachines or just hear the second half of this episode, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the second, mostly uncensored second half of this episode, you'll get the second uncensored half of every single one of our episodes, which date back before the apocalypse formally began. But not only that, I'll send you a 5x5 vinyl sticker of our big bunny Baphomet cover art at no additional cost. That, along with the secret keys to our secret Discord server, which is like a swanky treehouse for a bunch of rabbit nerds with weird hobbies. You could also pick Heka Astra's brain about Egypt. It's the only time she gets a break from her wifely duties of cleaning strange relics, doing leather work for strange angels, and making an assortment of fruit jams and jellies from the berries which grow in the haunted garden that live inside the tiny marble we use to protect ourselves from yetis. Don't ask me how she gets in there. If you enjoy The Whole Rabbit, consider giving us a like, subscribe, or share in your social media platform of choice, where your friends and family will assume it was an embarrassing accident or that your account has been hacked. In this week's episode, Heka Astra leads us on our conclusion of a rare deep dive of the Egyptian Neteret of truth, justice, and balance, Ma'at, blending bad jokes, academic study, and occult wisdom in a way that will make you rethink the type of eggs you eat for breakfast. In the free side of the show, we finish our discussion of ostrich anatomy, the significance of the number 42, Horus the child, what a Wadj is, and where the flaming snakes of the Seraphim originated. In the extended show, we break down Ma'at's name in hieroglyphics, what it has to do with mathematics, Greek mythology, and of course, Super Mario. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Did you guys hear that today Donald Trump signed an executive order making water only legal in 3 states?
What the
Yeah, solid, liquid, and gas.
Oh my god.
That was after Joe Biden called for a full legalization of marijuana. Now it's up to Congress to hold a joint session. Did you hear what happened after God legalized weed?
What?
The profits were at an all-time high.
Da-da-tch.
I think, like most people, I'm okay with pot being legalized, but cocaine? That's where I draw the line. What would happen if Snoop Dogg died before pot became legal in the United States?
What?
He'd be rolling in his grave. Wouldn't he be doing that anyway, though?
Yeah, I'd be doing that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just drag you down the ostrich hole, color your eggs, and tell you to sit on it. Nay, we bat our feathery eyelashes, stand upon the foundation of reality itself, and prepare to receive the rainbow star body. Because this week, we're concluding our deep dive, authored by Heka Astra's research, into the pre-creative womb of Ma'at, the ancient Egyptian Neteret of truth, wisdom, and justice. I'm your host, Luke Madrid, also known as the Hack Rabbit. I'm joined this week by our regular co-host, the mistress of both Mario twins, Mari-sama.
Shiggity, 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 schwab.
I just had like a flashback to high school.
They're twins. They're both the same.
The tumultuous troubadour of Tasmania, Tim, the high-level hacker.
As about, so about. As abound, so without.
What?
And the author and director of this entire series, who will lead us to heaven in the afterlife, Heka Astra.
Hello.
You're gonna lead us to heaven in the afterlife, right? Because that's the fruit of having eaten this entire tree.
You can do it now, and you don't need me. The kingdom of heaven is on earth.
It's within you.
It's within you. On earth as it is in heaven.
Are you ready to receive the shoe?
I'll give you the shoe.
So, where we last left off, we had investigated every part of the ostrich.
Not
and
every part.
Well, I guess that's what I was getting to. So, how about those luscious lashes? We're actually going to talk about ostrich lashes right now? That's it.
Well, we're going to keep dissecting the ostrich, starting with the eyeballs.
Starting with them big round saucers. They're big, by the way. They're huge.
Very big. So the highly perceptive eyes of the ostrich are actually the largest of all land vertebrates. And that's a whopping 2 inches in diameter.
Vertebrates mean stuff with spines.
Just for reference, 2 inches in diameter, that's about the size of a billiard ball for each eye. And if we're talking proportions, this actually makes their eyes larger than their brains.
What? It's like Jurassic Park every time one looks at you.
You know how people say your eyes are bigger than your stomach?
I'm sure they have bigger stomachs than this.
Yeah, their eyes are not bigger than their stomachs, but they are bigger than their brains.
My eyes are bigger than my brain.
My stomach's bigger than my brain.
When I go to In-N-Out, I get a triple. I eat the whole thing, though. I'm moving
Yummy.
up to the 4x4. In Canada, it sounds like I'm talking about coffee,
Coffee, Timmy's.
but I'm not. I'm talking about burger.
That's f***ing awesome.
So it's actually not very common for birds to have eyelashes either, but not only do ostriches have fairly pronounced brow ridges, they also have beautiful long eyelashes. The combination of these two attributes, the brow ridge and the long eyelashes, collectively provide shade from the sun above as well as protection from the dust below. So as if ostriches having eyelashes isn't weird enough, their eyelashes also are tiny specialized feathers, and that might be the icing on the cake for me.
So they're not just hairs. They're itsy bitsy little feathers.
Yeah.
I feel like those would be powerful magic ingredients, you know, like
Oh, the eyelash of an ostrich?
Adam's apple of a zebra. Yeah, and then
Symbolically, we can relate this as meaning the following: the Setian dust of the desert, and Montu, the harsh, destructive nature of Ra, which is the sun's most intense power of the midday desert sun.
Satan.
Yeah, both the Setian desert dust and the Montu sun don't impede the perceptive qualities of Ma'at.
Those are both like quote unquote satanic forces.
Yeah.
If we wanted to really. Okay.
So we can also interpret this as a natural byproduct of the many feathers of Shu in relation to the light of consciousness. The ostrich's eye and eyelashes as a symbol of the perspective reality with a clarity of vision in the harmony of light and shadow. I know that kind of sounds like gobbledygook, but this is shade provided by the tiny feathers, and it relates the eyelashes of the ostrich to the Kemetic word for shade or shadow, which is shu-et. So you've got shu, and the receptivity of shu is shu-et, and that's the word for shadow. And this is a soul aspect, representing the harmonious, receptive, positive aspects of the shade, or shu-et, which is cast by the sun's light, and ultimately is related to shu. So I think that this ostrich eyelash made of feathers, it hints at an ability to see clearly in the darkness via a harmony of the light and darkness. And it adds a layer to the conversation about supposedly blind justice not being so blind. It's a knowing even in the darkness. It's a balance between light and shade that these eyelashes offer.
This is like how in the noir film, the detective is always a little drunk. You know, he can hang with the kings or with the scoundrels, and his perception is not going to be jaded regardless.
Just shaded.
Shaded but not jaded. Justice should be able to operate in the blinding light or the choking darkness.
Listen, Bill, I don't think you realize what kind of trouble you were in last night. Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
However you want to analogize it.
So the eyes of ostriches are essential for their ability to perceive and assess dangers from a distance of up to 2.2 miles away. They see what's coming from a long way out, and they can get a head start with their speed. Ma'at tends to be one step ahead, so to speak. She's equated with clear vision, which also relates Ma'at to divine perception, or Sia. And likewise, the ability to get a head start, it does speak to preemptive action, the placement of boundaries and laws for the preservation of the creation. created.
You know, in some ways it makes more sense for Justice to have gigantic eyeballs than it does for her to be blind.
And I know a lot of people have been asking about this, but one common mythological misconception is that ostriches hide their heads in the sand. But this is actually a misunderstanding about their behavior. They may put their heads into holes in the ground which contain their eggs in order to tend to them, like turning them. Or alternatively, they might lay their heads on the ground to blend in with the landscape as a kind of camouflage. Justice isn't really blind, but it does appear to express itself that way in truth.
I think that's an interesting connection because Justice is often symbolically blind in our culture. It's indifferent to kings and paupers alike, once again, with this theme. But it is interesting that the ostrich is one of the few animals we know for covering its head entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes dogs put their heads under blankets, but it's not the same,
He's just opening the way under the blanket.
It's interesting that the real fact to why they do that, because in popular media, it's always portrayed as that ostriches are cowardly.
Or dumb.
Ignorant, yeah.
Yeah.
Both.
Wanting to ignore something, yeah.
Willful ignorance, but it's not that.
Nope.
They're actually being smart about things.
So some fun myths about ostriches arose around the topic of their unique eyes. One is medieval European legends of the ostrich that tell tales of the bird having the power of the sun in its gaze. And these tales are basically ostriches hatching eggs from only its burning stare.
Oh, this is why they had to take Erica Kirk off a camera. Really, I think we could learn from the ostrich to keep our head in the sand on this one.
And appear ignorant?
Yes. Sneak back into the bushes like Homer.
So even if it is purely symbolic, the whole hatching eggs by staring at them thing, I can relate to the sentiment of this myth. If you can look an ostrich in the eyes and somehow not feel fear, awe, and love simultaneously, then I don't know if we're seeing the same bird.
I wouldn't exactly call them cute, but
They are marvelous.
marvelously frightening.
When we went to the ostrich farm, my reaction was like, I love you, you're scary. I love you, you're scary. I love you, you're scary. Love you.
Let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to fight one.
You wouldn't want to pull a Johnny Cash?
No, I wouldn't want to cook with one either, like in a kitchen. I think making biscuits with an ostrich would be untenable, let's say. Sharing food in general, I think with an ostrich would be difficult. Paying taxes with an ostrich, also difficult.
So ostriches are social nomadic birds that can often be found hanging out with other grazing animals like oryxes and ibexes. They congregate in flocks which can range from 5 to 50 birds during the breeding season, going down to between 2 and 5 for the remainder of the year. The vocal repertoire of the ostrich is quite impressive. They can roar, make whistles, produce sharp hisses, guttural sounds, and a variety of snorts. The males also can make loud booming calls or low drumming sounds.
Oh, they can chortle. They can yuck.
Yuck?
Yeah, I think they can, what is it? Bumbaclot? They can definitely bumbaclot.
Are these even words?
Yeah.
They can scat?
Psh, they can probably shazoo also. Better than any cow.
Have you guys ever seen an ostrich dance?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And not just in Fantasia?
Honestly, no. I've seen Fantasia once, and that's when my handler forced me to 50 times in a row.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
Oh, geez. So I asked if you had seen an ostrich dance because it's really weird. And they say that the Lord works in mysterious ways, and even ostrich dancing looks highly unusual.
Don't they do that rave splits? You know what I mean? Yeah, when Deadmau5 comes on and you hit the ground suddenly.
Yeah, they can drop the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Firstly, ostriches sometimes will just dance because they're excited, happy, or content. This kind of dance is most commonly expressed as spinning in tight circles, stretching their legs, and flapping their wings. They commonly do this dance in the mornings, but they will also do it just whenever they're feeling pretty fine. And both males and females do this.
Man, this flaps. When you take that first bite of nachos and it's got some chives on it and some meat on it and some sour cream and some avocado on it. You do the little happy dances or eating it in front of the oven.
I call that a squee dance.
A squee dance?
Yeah.
Well, it's an ostrich dance now. I'm the expert.
Okay. Ancient Egyptians observed these morning activities of ostriches at sunrise, relating the running, spinning, and flapping of their wings to an act of greeting the sun as it dawned. Wherever Ra shines, there too is Ma'at to meet him.
I'm starting to wonder how much ancient ritual is actually rooted in ostriches.
You mean like the making circles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their outfits,
Ooh, fancy.
they dress in black, they act unapproachable and a bit frightening, and they stare at you weird.
So males will also do a more intense version of this dance, complete with full-blown strutting and spinning in even tighter circles in order to court a female. Male ostriches will also perform an elaborate dance that starts with bowing and lowering their bodies to the ground in a squat. It looks a lot like they're just dropping to their knees, but while they're down low, they shake their feathers and fan their wings. First lifting one wing up, then as they bring that wing down, they lift up the other wing. And they do this back and forth, lifting and lowering one wing at a time, swapping turns back and forth over and over again. It's pretty mesmerizing. And as they do this, their head sways side to side and their tail bobs up and down. These dances are meant to exhibit the strength and health of the males for the females to judge.
Sometimes your entire genetic destiny comes down to how well you sway your head back and forth in strut and Chad-like fashion.
Yep, he's a dandy. He's a real fancy boy.
They call it mogging now. Also, the ostriches invented mogging.
Is that legal?
It currently is, but not for much longer, Tim.
Male ostriches are endowed with 8-inch retractable penises.
Woo! What the?
I mean, who isn't?
That's crazy. It's detachable? Oh, wait.
Retractable.
Yes, because sometimes your entire genetic destiny comes down to having an 8-inch retractable penis.
Please, no.
Got it.
In fact, ostriches are one of the few bird species that actually has a penis.
What?
Other birds that do are emus and cassowaries, just to name a couple.
They look like they have penises. Those particular birds you're talking about, they have big cluck energy.
Don't like ducks have drills?
Yeah. This is a huge theme of ours about Eyes Wide Shut, duck season versus rabbit season, because...
They have like a corkscrew penis.
Yeah, and they're very non-consensual in their mating behaviors.
Man, ducks are assholes.
They are, actually.
So these birds that I mentioned, emus, cassowaries, ostriches, just to name a few, they have unique penis structure as well, which is a spongy, lymph-filled organ that extends outwards from the cloaca when it becomes erect.
What's a cloaca?
Slot portal.
The slot portal, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember from last time.
So the reptilian overclass, because they're reptilians, they don't have a penis or a vagina. They just have a crusty
Slit.
sphincter, slit.
They have like a Stargate where the dick teleports in and it's like
This
a
is-
screwdriver.
So gross, guys.
But it's science, and they rub it together,
So
and all the juices mingle, and then one of them spits out an egg.
I don't want to know about Hillary Clinton's sex life.
Well,
Oh, Bill doesn't want to either.
You don't want to know about a duck penis either.
Or
so
the queen. I don't want to know.
that's not the important thing here. The important thing is that a penis emerges from this hole. Okay,
Like a Stargate.
well, because a lymph-filled organ is just like
That sounds dangerous.
Isn't that just normal?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it comes out of a hole. That's not normal. That's weird.
It's how God manifests himself, okay?
Well,
What?
that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, just dick rising out of the...
We throw all this Egyptian stuff in the garbage. God created a bird with a penis that comes out of a cloaca. God did that, Tim.
What do you think all these obelisks are? Or like Astarte poles and like, it's all the same thing. It's all this imagery.
Starting to make me not trust dicks anymore.
That's the first step to wisdom. That's the secret of every magic society. They're like, just stop listening to the brain in there.
Well, eventually, it gets cut off and it gets thrown into a river and then a fish...
Oh, no, what the?
And then a fish eats it. And then you have to make a new one out of gold.
C-3PO.
Yeah. Okay. So male ostriches are territorial and they will mate with between 3 to 5 hens. So you have these harems of the females that are hens and they roam around, breeding with several male ostriches in different territories. However, the males will have a life bond with one specific female, and that's basically their waifu. This pair stays together like a king and queen of their territory for their lifetimes. The male digs a hole, which is used as a communal nest for all of the females. Each female can produce between 7 to 10 eggs. So depending on the amount of females laying eggs, the communal nest can hold between 20 to 60 eggs total.
It's a lot of eggs. I actually did the math on this one. So get this. Your average IHOP serves between 300 and 400 chicken eggs a day. Now, since an ostrich egg produces about 20 times the normal amount of food a chicken egg does, we actually quoted a higher number earlier. That means your average IHOP doesn't even consume enough eggs a day to match the smaller end of your communal egg store projection for the ostrich. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of
Yeah.
egg in the ostrich harem.
So you're saying that one communal ostrich nest has more egg in it than an IHOP can serve in a day.
Yeah, a tiny one.
That's
Why are we-
embarrassing.
It is. Why are we letting chicken eggs hold us back? Why don't we have ostrich farms that just eat mad ostrich egg?
No wonder the Australians declared war on them.
Those are emus. Isn't that what we found out? Those were emus. The waifu, she keeps close watch over these eggs in the communal nest, and she makes sure that her eggs are at the center, and most importantly, that they remain there. The other female's eggs are formed around her eggs, kind of like a protective circle outwards. And this gives the waifu's eggs the greatest chance of survival. So if a predator comes around, she rolls out another female's eggs, kind of like a sacrificial decoy, in order to protect the remaining eggs, especially hers. And this may seem harsh, but at the end of the day, actually, all of the eggs stand a greater chance of survival by being in this communal nest, compared to if they were incubated in separate nests. But, that said, fewer than 10% of nests survive long enough to hatch, so those decoys are actually much needed.
10%?
That's brutal.
Yeah.
10%?
Yeah.
Who's eating these eggs?
Well, they're a lot easier to get a hold of than the ostriches themselves, so.
Like lions or something? Are lions out there
Yes.
eating eggs?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
Yes, queen.
Lions, hyenas, cheetahs, mongooses.
Mongoose?
Mongooses.
Okay, I really honestly wish there were an ostrich video game. I think this would lend itself well to the mobile game structure, like rolling out eggs. Like pimps strutting around the barrens, like looking for more for your harem. They kind of pimp strut as they walk. And pimps, they wear feathers. I'm seeing a connection here, you guys.
I was also going to say vultures actually really like ostrich eggs. And a lot of times, because they can't actually get into the egg, they actually just drop rocks on the eggs.
What? They do?
More specifically, hold rocks. They use it's tool use.
They use tools, vultures?
They hold rocks in their beaks and they smash it into the egg. Into the ostrich eggs. And these are the same vultures that we talked about last episode. So if an egg's going to be eaten, if an Orphic egg is going to not come to fruition, it's the mother that eats it.
Gotta get that protein.
So these communal nests are guarded by a rotating watch of males and females.
Like hippies.
The females watch over the nest during the day, and the males take the graveyard shift spanning the nighttime. Incubation of the eggs takes around 42 days.
What?
Which is a pretty significant number in occult contexts.
That's the number of judges in the afterlife.
Yep, you've got 42 judges or assessors of Ma'at, 42 laws of Ma'at or negative confessions. In Judaism, you have the 42 letters of the Hashem name of God, letters of creation.
Whoa.
You've got 32 times to name Elohim in Genesis plus the 10 Sephirot.
What?
The first 42 words of Genesis for creation. 7 times 6 is 42, so you have 7, the number of divine completion, wholeness, totality, and creation multiplied by 6.
6, 7.
The embodied creation represented by the symbolism of the cube and its 6 sides, and this equals 42 as well. Also, 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Son of a b****. These damn science fiction authors know everything. Sorry, that's a lot of 42s.
It's a big, highly significant number.
What the does Valis think about this?
I'm actually scanning my weird Rolodex brain real quick.
Philip K. Dick.
So you know how sometimes Jews will say Hashem, meaning like the name, instead of saying the name of God, they use it.
Yeah.
They say Hashem instead.
Because they're not allowed to say the real name.
I don't know how to get into Philip K. Dick from this spot, except there's something that's been sitting on my mind since last week, and that's we relate the infirmity of old age to injustice because justice is swift. And Philip K. Dick just thought the idea that we experience pain at all was injustice, that there was something wrong about where we were and what we were experiencing, and that part of the universe or an aspect of God or one of God's twins was totally and absolutely insane. And so he related evil to Isfet as well, but it was like cosmic Isfet or like cosmic Apep that had not been slain, but that Christ would eventually slay it, or that it had been slain. We just had to awaken to it.
He called it the Black Iron Prison, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and all the best science fiction movies are about that exact thing. So
it's actually Douglas Adams that said 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
yeah, that guy's also very funny.
Yeah. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the only time I've ever laughed out loud in a room by myself reading.
That's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so should any of the other females' eggs survive to the point of hatching, Both the males and females will protect the chicks and raise them. The waifu will also adopt the offspring as if they are her own. So the chicks emerge from the nest as soon as they hatch, whereupon the parents take the chicks under wing, literally, to protect them from the harsh conditions of the sun and the desert.
That's some good waifu.
I mean, because everyone else is afraid of you.
What?
You're 9 feet tall and have eyes of fire.
Some of them are only 7 feet tall.
And anything you say, they just look at you like you're about to get pimp slapped. Every time they flap their wings, you like flinch a little bit.
Okay, so why am I talking about how ostriches procreate?
I'm afraid to say.
It's
Yeah.
It's because this speaks as a metaphor directly to the creative aspects of how Ma'at functions, which we're not really told because we're only given the feather for the symbolism. This is like stuff that's kind of hidden, right? And we talked before about how Ma'at represents a reflection of true will that is synonymous with divine will. So I wanted to unpack this a bit because it tells us how the spiritually significant divine child is born. It's a divine Genesis narrative that tells us also how divine truth works. It reminds us of how Ma'at complements Thoth as a consort. This is the marriage of truth and wisdom. Thoth, the netter personifying wisdom, had epithets such as this.
Quote, he who reveals Ma'at and reckons Ma'at, who loves Ma'at and gives Ma'at to the doer of Ma'at, end quote.
That's your boy.
Self-referential, tiny bit.
So this is Thoth, Ma'at's husband, and he is represented in the language of the birds as an ibis. So this is kind of unusual because we're given a feminine ostrich-coded truth as a consort to a male ibis representing wisdom. And ibises have very different breeding habits compared to that of an ostrich, since ibises are actually monogamous during the breeding season.
So does the ibis have to join the ostrich's polycule?
I mean, let's not take this too literally, but yes.
No, let's.
No, this is
Zootopia 3 right now.
it is an energetic narrative that's telling us how this all works. We're given relatable symbols. If thinking of a legitimate polycube works, then relate to it that way. But it is telling us the energetic narrative of how truth and wisdom are creative together. And I think this is a symbolic commentary that divine wisdom presents itself as an intimate one-on-one experience. It's monogamous, and divine truth is universal. It's a bit of a horror.
Oh, like how, well,
Nice.
a lot of people say that there's different truths. Like you have an
Yes.
experience and you meet the truth in a different way. Whereas when you're interacting with divine truth, it's like your own experience.
Yeah, when it becomes wisdom, it's one-on-one, right? Like a
Yeah,
gnosis.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, because my wisdom doesn't necessarily apply to you.
yeah. So
You got that right out the gate, Mari?
Yeah.
Oh, I broke her balls about this for like an hour. This is thank
Well, it
you,
makes
Mari.
sense to me. You learn from your experiences, right? But what I learn within my context of my personhood is not necessarily going to be helpful to the next person, I guess.
So you're correct. The divine truth is like a universal thing. Even if it is like Ma'at, we know that Ma'at is selective and orderly in what comes to fruition. So together they complement each other. And this culminates in the experience of Gnosis as a very intimate and personal experience. Wisdom is known through experiencing it personally. Truth is actively a preferential based receptivity. And it's simultaneously a masculine form of passively being indiscriminate. So this is kind of all relative to the individual, but that truth egg can come from any receptive source. And some truth eggs are discarded as needed, while others are brought to hatch and reared alongside and acknowledged as shared truth. You make it your own. It becomes your own truth baby, right? And it makes sense. It's relatable. You take what is useful and you discard what is not.
Okay, so for the slow rabbits in the back, like me, the ostrich egg equals divine truth, yes?
Divine truth, what comes to fruition, the Orphic egg. Yes, it's the vessel of the divine child as truth.
And so divine wisdom would be like one's personal relationship to one of these eggs.
Yes. So, like, what works for you might not work for someone else. And what works for someone else might not work for you. And, like, if you're really put to it, you're probably going to roll out someone else's truth. You know what I mean? Like, if someone holds your feet to the fire, you're probably going to throw Buddhism in the trash if you're a Christian or vice versa.
Which is why they always torture you and make you convert before they you. That makes sense. Okay. And I did my best to break it down. You said wisdom is gnosis of the divine, vision of truth beyond. And this brings forth of the egg, right? Because you have a vision of something, you're like, oh, this is a value. This is something that I want to care for, even in its germinal stage. Like I can sit on it and take care of it. And then if you do that long enough, it'll manifest into real life as like fruit, essentially. Like you get something out of it through dedication, commitment, and care.
Yeah.
But there's some times where you're like, well, screw this egg. I gotta have this one live.
Like if you're an ally to someone else's ideology and then they burn you, you're probably going to be like, well, their egg.
Is that why we have Easter eggs?
I don't know. This reminds me of like how, when you meditate or you come close to contact with that, everybody discusses that because they have their own personal experience with it. But having the God moment or when you're entrained in meditation or you have an epiphany, that kind of moment, that is personal to you. But when you come back from it, everyone knows what you're talking about because they've had their own. So that's like the universal part of it. That's the universal truth part of it. But the wisdom is your own personal journey with it.
So if I had to break it down the furthest yet, it's a lot like between the ibis and the ostrich. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Ostrich Club.
I mean, ostriches would love to talk about it, but you're only going to know what you're talking about when you meet the ibis.
So someone else's truth egg might be viable to be nurtured
Right?
by the generative truth to which you're married. And it's okay to realize and embrace how someone else's truth can also be your own. I think the ostrich does show us this with the eggs, but it also shows us that if the genesis of our own divine truth is threatened, then the truth which is not ours may become compromised for the sake of our own, to preserve our own Orphic eggs.
Yeah, I could see that being a pitfall where you just take someone else's experience and try to live that and it doesn't work right.
Yeah, or
Only
like,
Robot Ostrich Club. Don't talk about Ostrich Club.
or like when people have like a spiritual experience of their own and they like try to project it onto others as like, this is the way and you must do it the way that I do it.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah, I do.
So I see this like a reflection of the androgynous quality of Mercury, for example, unifying the relationship between wisdom and truth, which in this sense conceives our divine child. And these ostrich eggs of truth are said to be incubated by the sun. So we might occasionally stick our heads in the hole, not to remain blind to the world, but to turn the eggs and make sure this heating is balanced. So this is kind of like hermit behavior.
Or to stare at them intensely, if you're a chaos magician.
Yeah, just be a weirdo. Hell yeah.
That's one of the most powerful techniques I learned from studying chaos magic is just stare at it. Just stare at the sigil until your eyes just burn. Now I could know that this was the power of the ostrich.
Yeah.
You could just give birth to something by staring at it.
Yeah, like an eldritch abomination.
I got hairy legs.
Perfect.
And then off air, we discussed a little bit what this meant, like putting your head in the sand, looking at the egg. Now, for me, I occasionally need to nerd out about the law of attraction or just hear inspiring stuff about manifestation to really get it to bear out the fruit that I want. So this is like me turning the egg. I think actively working on something, acting on something, or meditating on something could be the equivalent of turning that something's egg. Like you pray to God, you get a better relationship with God, that kind of thing.
So Shu is an elementary masculine creative energy, as we discussed in the previous episode. And this wielding of Shu in tandem with Ma'at also tells us that this represents a union of the principles of divine active feminine receptivity with the dormant masculine structural.
Okay, we're going to need to break that down. How can we better visualize the difference between these two? So what would be active feminine receptive? What would be a thing that's that? And what would be a dormant structural masculine thing? How could we visualize this better?
So let's take a goblet, for example, like a cup, a chalice. This is dormant structurally masculine, and that's because it's a physically existing structure.
It extends in space. It takes up space. It's a thing. Okay.
But the goblet is also actively feminine receptive, and that's because it can receive what is poured into it, and its masculine embodiment allows it to receive. So this is like the chalice is a harmony of it.
So you could actively receive wine or like blood from your gushing enemy's neck.
Yeah.
And it's not a literal interpretation, but more of a metaphor for these creative principles in union. And this itself represents a kind of duality. And harmonizing those dualities is referred referred to as dual ma'at. The action of receptive space is mutually beholden to dormantly penetrative laws.
Like how space seems empty or receptive, but is full of laws, like gravity.
That you can't escape from.
You can't really ever fully escape gravity. It's totally full of gravity.
Even in space, you can't escape gravity.
No. Usually you're subject to some gravity somewhere. You are, you know? And then it takes a really lot of effort to get out of something's orbit. And then you just end up in some other bigger thing's orbit.
So this kind of energetic interplay shown here in Ma'at's dawning of the shoe feather is one of active feminine receptivity in union with the dormant or static masculine structure. And this is most easily reflected through the mythologies of the conception of Horus the child. So these would be the representations where you see Isis immaculately conceiving via a golden phallus given to Osiris.
This static masculine structure referred to Osiris being an erect dead guy.
Yeah.
Okay. This would be the dormant structural masculine that Isis, the active feminine receptive, receives.
Yes, because she
Okay.
flies actively over him.
Okay. Not in a pornographic way.
I mean, it's kind of pornographic.
It's pornographic.
It's pornographic.
Okay.
So this becomes an easier microscopic myth for us to interact with and understand as individuals in order to relate personally to the universal conception versions of these energies. So Shu and Osiris can both be related to Saturnian energies, and I personally relate Shu to the Saturnian energies of the sphere of Bina on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, while the red dress wearing ladies like Ma'at, Isis, and Tefnut, Shu's wife, can be related to the active receptive that either pours into formation, accumulates and forms within, or pours forth from the formation as the receptive activity of the formation.
So it's like if you removed all the humping, you're left with cups overflowing into each other, not
Yes.
unlike how the Tree of Life is described. Okay, got it.
And in a nutshell, this imagery does harken back to the point of creation, the Ben or the mound of creation as the formula for boundaries, space-time, and ultimately the first iteration of truth, Ma'at. The first occurrence of truth as it relates to the divine autogenesis of God is sometimes defined as Hu, or the divine utterance, and we see that it's mentioned in creation stories, not just in Egypt, but also in the Old Testament and beyond. That mound of creation from which the pyramid is designed to symbolize can be thought of as the Holy Trinity, or the supernal triad on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. That's the top three spheres.
The Christian edition of these overlapping concepts of Who, divine voice, and the mound of creation, I think, are well represented in the opening lines of John, which read a bit like a chibi version of Genesis. Tim,
Tim's gonna have to read the Bible.
take it away, Tim.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not.
Okay, are you guys ready for some symbolism of powers wielded by Ma'at?
Yeah.
So the most common items for Ma'at to be shown holding are the ostrich feather or an ankh, the key of life. The ankh is a symbol of divine life and light. There are also a great many instances of Ma'at depicted holding a papyrus column scepter, which is known as the Wadj scepter. This following explanation can also be explained to any time any of the Neteru possess the papyrus staff in their hands, not just Ma'at.
So other goddesses sometimes have a Wadj scepter. Much like having your titties hanging out is also not exclusive to one goddess either.
This is true. The Wadj staff is a tall staff of Egyptian papyrus, and this is an aquatic plant that grows to be between 13 and 16 feet tall.
I think they have these in Minecraft.
Its Latin name is Cyperus papyrus, also known as papyrus sedge. The long stem of the plant is crowned by a radiant umbel, which looks a bit like a feather duster. The umbel is a cluster of many radiant, thin rays, and this together forms a round bell kind of shape at the top of the stem. So the stem of the papyrus itself is triangular, and this is often emerging up out of flooded swamps and riverbanks. The symbolism here of the triangular stalk speaks to the holy triad, the Father, the Mother, and the Child, as a creative trinity, which extends itself out of the primordial waters and radiates into creation as the many variations and directions of life, kind of like all the little rays that come out the top of the papyrus. The primordial waters were likewise reflected in the symbolism of marshes, where the reeds of papyrus symbolized lush growth emerging from the waters of creation. This lush growth was reflected symbolically in the funerary papyri as the field of reeds.
The fields of reeds are important because it's basically heaven, right?
Yep.
This always reminds me of Saturn being a grain god to the Romans and the golden era being related to Saturn. Like the ancients had this concept of heaven being related to a field of reeds.
The Eleusinian fields.
So the word Wadj means papyrus, but it also means green. And as we should know by this point in the conversation, color indicates something because it always does. In other places where this papyrus hieroglyph was used, we find words which translate to fresh, vigorous, fortunate man, renew, and colonnade. A colonnade is a row of supporting pillars. The word colonnade likewise references the symbolism of the many papyrus plants growing out of the primordial waters, and in doing so, those plants are envisioned as supporting the vaults of heaven. We see the symbolism throughout ancient Egyptian architectural columns, but we also see it in some versions of the Masonic pillars of Yakin and Boaz.
You know where we find the symbolism in abundance? United States dollar bill.
Motherfuckers.
Just look at it. I have a picture in the notes, see? Because I don't have any in real life, you know?
And if you look really, really close, there's an owl. And we all know what owls mean.
You know, we'll actually get to Athena in a minute. You know, just to be not to be all doom and gloom.
The owls are not what they seem.
That's also probably true. But, you know, we're not going to go there, okay? This is a wholesome episode, Tim. This is wholesome.
I know. I'm trying to keep my potty mouth at bay.
You should, because Erica Kirk is sitting in this room right now watching you.
What?
Oh, God. Is her lizard tongue, like, sniffing the air?
I don't like it.
Well, that's because you need to be arrested.
So the papyrus hieroglyph itself was used as the phonogram for Wadj, and as such, it was synonymous with the concept of green as a combination of not just color, but the energetic signature that green carries as well. Green is associated with fertility, vegetation, health, growth, and living abundance. And when we see Ma'at holding both an Ankh and a Wadj scepter, the symbolism is pretty clear that Ma'at is necessary for life and is herself a principle which holds the power of life, creation, abundance, health, and wholeness in her hands, like literally as a symbol.
Sounds a little bit like how hippies think of Gaia.
Cringe.
Or how Christians think of Jesus.
The word Wadj is a divine principle and a holistic divine nature or Neteret. Conceptualizing it in this way, as the ancient Egyptians did, gives us the nature of green, known as the Neteret Wadjet. So this is the Wadj with the feminine determinative et added to it, implying an embodiment of green energetically. Wadjet is the name of the goddess who symbolizes the eye of the sun god Ra. Her name literally means green one, and her name was also used as a term for that which is whole and healthy. This is why when Horus's eye is made whole again after having been plucked out by Uncle Set, his eye is Wadjet, healthy and whole. Likewise, just for an example of the daily use of this concept, if you were to ask about someone's health after they had gotten over a flu, they might reply that they are Wadj, or green, meaning that they're healthy or made whole again. So this concept relates to the fertile nature of Thoth for the sake of union.
I thought it was interesting our culture today associates the color green with both sickness and health. We discussed in the last few episodes the color coding in video games, how oftentimes a health potion is red and your health bar might be red, but I'd say second most common, if you want your health back, the color can be green. Like Resident Evil comes to mind.
Or like your health bar might be red, but then like if you have little numbers that show you're gaining health, they're green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Super Mario with the 1-up mushroom.
So papyrus is a plant that's necessary as an ingredient for making papyrus paper and scrolls. It is the feminine receptive body of the scroll that holds the hieroglyphic texts. So together, the negative space of the papyrus medium and the positive symbols, which convey the knowledge, create the whole body of the literature or the papyrus scroll. The papyrus is in holistic union with the hieroglyphs, and then it becomes a symbol of Thoth. So this is also why we see the mythological narrative of Horus's eye being made whole again through Thoth. And this is symbolic of the cycles of the moon also, where a new moon is the eye plucked out of the sky, and the full moon is the eye restored completely. So since this restoration is often credited to Thoth, we see that the Wadjet eye is also sometimes referred to as the eye of Thoth. It might be a bit confusing that Wadjet is also technically used to refer to the eye of Ra as well, since the sun is often seen whole, unless there's a solar eclipse.
So these are the little sneaky boys boys. They look like little flaming, well, they're not flaming. They have wings, they got a sun on their head, and they're a big long snake. This is where we get Seraphim.
Yes, like I said in the angel episode.
Damn.
The fiery cobras. So Wadjet is also the uraeus serpent, or cobra, that many people recognize as a snake gracing the foreheads of pharaohs in Egyptian art. Like Ma'at and other winged goddesses, you sometimes also see Wadjet depicted as a winged serpent, like Luke pointed out. So this basically tells us that the feminine principle of living abundance is related not only to sight and illumination as the Eye of Ra, but that the wings on it tells us that she's capable of producing the breath of life.
Breath being the airy element attributed through the wings. Okay.
And this is the same breath of life that we see symbolically represented when Isis, in the form of a black kite, flies her bird body over the deceased and reconstituted Osiris.
Or like how in the Bible, God moves upon the face of the waters or breathes Neshama into the dead body of Adam.
Yes.
He's clay. So he's dead until he gets the Neshama.
So when a goddess like Ma'at holds the papyrus staff and Ankh, these are the energies that are being invoked as the powers that are wielded, like held in her hands: life-giving, healing, and dominion.
Dominion.
So like she's kind of a boss.
I mean, you have house-related symbolism, yeah, in all the feminine.
But if you'd like to hear the hieroglyphic breakdown of how exactly that works, along with a little bit of Gematria,
Yeah, we're gonna get technical.
I've got some Saturnalia, got some mathematics,
Lots of hieroglyphs.
and you would be surprised how much Super Mario and Illuminati BS is in the second half as the startling conclusion to this 5-part. Yes,
It's not Illuminati BS, it's ancient ritual magic.
it's Abraham Lincoln. If you want to know why Abraham Lincoln is in your pocket right now, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 also Lincoln. What a coincidence! We'll not only get you the extended version of this show, you'll get the extended version of every single one of our shows stretching back over 7 years. How do you say 7 years in Lincoln speak? One
Das ist
score.
gut.
One score.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
seven, no, that's 40 years, right? One score is 40. It goes back 7 years, okay? I'll send you a 5x5 high quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art.
Get to join the Cool Socks Club.
In our Discord server.
You'll get black bagged by the authorities at any random moment just for listening to this show,
CIA will instantly be coming after you, saying weird stuff about you behind your back.
making everyone bump into you and fart and burp at strange synchronistic times. It's a blast.
It's the only real way to do the Schizo's journey, the only true hero's journey.
Where upon the path you will definitely need to eat carrots and shoot lasers.
Pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew.